Okay. Okay, let's begin, brothers and sisters. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulullah. Brothers and sisters, right off the back bug, I have to say this. I've asked the MSA when we're booking this, I need to go till 6 p.m. And they said, no, this is too much. We won't be able to go that much. So the reality of the matter is there's so much to cover. It's nearly impossible to go everything. It's nearly impossible. That's why we do this in 7 days. And we've condensed it down to 2 days. And now from those 2 days, we're restricted on time. I would like to give as much needed. I know it's a beginner's course, so we don't have time to go to every little detail. So that's why when the conversations go longer, I know in the back of my head, by 4 o'clock, it's next to impossible that this is going to get finished. That's the reality. The reality is I would like to deal with every challenge that you guys can come up with dawah, but the reality is not going to get solved. It's not that we don't have the answer. It's not how we can solve it by explaining it. So I have to ask, we have 2 hours left and I have 4 hours of content, minimum. For me to do this, the only way I can do it is just skip through it, or you guys stick around a little longer. So I'll leave that to you guys. You guys decide what is best for you. I would like to deliver this properly and get you to understand. I'm not saying you need to know every single thing, but at least give you enough so you guys can go and give dawah in a very comprehensive way. But the reality of the matter is, we have a Q&A at the end, which is about 20 minutes to a half an hour, at least 25 minutes, which will get you certificates. So I'm pre-warning. Are you guys okay to stick around later with a show of hands? Okay, about 2 hours later. Okay, so the rest of you would have to kind of, yeah. So I'm gonna try to, what I will do is I'll go because I don't wanna lose you guys. I don't wanna lose half of you and keep half of you. I would like to have everybody go through the similar kind of experience. So I will try to go as fast as I can, and then inshallah we'll see what we can do. Okay, so let's begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So, as we said, the next discussion necessary adds into problem of evil and suffering, need for life, what's the purpose of life, and so on and so forth, automatically takes you into that there's a need for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the creator to tell us what we want, why are we here, what's the purpose of life, how does he want to be thanked. So there's a necessity, there's a need now for wahi. So this is how we're building the discussion. Okay, we're building the discussion that there's a need for Allah to tell us. Okay, so that's why we're now bringing in the discussion of the wahi. Okay, we're talking about the Quran now, yeah, Revelation. So always we build discussion at very simple level, very simple. And when the person says, I need more, then you add a little bit more. And then the person says, I need more, and we add more. So it's a very simple argument. Simple argument, very simple. This phone came with the manual. Very simple. This iPad came with the manual. This table came with the manual. My shirt came with the manual. Right? Sorry? It did. I can show you on the right. It says when you wash this, make sure you don't put it in extra hot water. Wash it on cold temperature. Yeah? So everything that we know comes with the manual. Now those manual doesn't have to be a piece of paper. Yeah? So we need to understand that. When we say manual here, we don't mean a book. This carpet may have not come with the manual of a book, but it did come with instructions to clean it, some, how to take care of it, not to dirty it, not to make it wet. So everything has some kind of manual or understanding. Yes? Now someone can say to you, well, Ali, this is a phone, this is an iPad, this is a shirt, this is carpet. But what about the trees? Trees didn't come with a manual. So they have a built-in manual. The trees, the creation of Allah, has a built-in manual. So how does a tree have a built-in manual? It tells you how you need to operate that tree. Can we get a palm tree from Florida and put it in up north where it's 40 minus? What will happen to it? It'll die. So it has a self-built-in manual how to operate that tree. That's the argument. Everything has an manual. So surely we are much more complex than trees and these iPads and phones. So we surely couldn't be left here without any guidance. Simple argument, yes? That's what we're bringing in. Because there's a need, there must be a manual, and we believe if this phone came with the manual, we as human beings must have, Allah wouldn't just leave us astray. Like I use this discussion, and you can use whatever one you want. I said, look, God is not an absent landlord. Do you know what that means? God, you know how somebody builds a house and he just leaves it for a millennia? What will happen to that house? It will rot and it will die. It will be destroyed. Yeah? In the same way, Allah just didn't create creation and just left it be. He's the sustainer, the maintainer, the cherisher, the nourisher, the provider, right? So we are explaining this part. Just like that, Allah has given us a manual. And that manual is the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The last and the final wahi, revelation to mankind, which is the Quran, which is the book of Allah. So far, are we together? Now the discussion comes. Okay, let's ask the first question before I get further. How do we explain the Quran is from Allah, from you guys? Because I tell you, a lot of you already know this. We just bring out what you already know. How do we explain? There's a brother in the back. If there's another mic, even the sisters, if they want to get involved. How do we explain the Quran is from Allah? In a simple way, within like few words, without getting to like a half an hour discussion. Yes?
Side question before I answer this question. Should I be like mentioning like key aspect of like the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when it came to answering this question?
No, let's build simple argument first. Very simple. And keep it simple. And then when I have more questions, then you give me more details. Okay, if you had to give me dawah in 30 seconds about the Quran, 30 seconds, how would you explain the Quran's from Allah in 30 seconds? Count. I'm watching the clock.
Okay, so the Quran is essentially a blueprint of how to live your life as a human being, as in, specifically speaking, how to worship Allah according to His commandments and His divine decree. Similar to how everything in life needs a manual and needs study to gain an area of expertise, us as human beings, as creation of God, to be able to know how to worship God effectively and in accordance to His commandments and His decree, we need a manual, and our manual is the Holy Scripture, the Holy Quran.
Okay, good. But how do we know the Quran's from Allah? Does it need a long discussion?
It's a miracle. It's our biggest miracle of Islam.
Excellent. Can I have the mic back? Good. Anybody would like to add to that?
We got someone.
Who had their hands up?
The brother here.
Who had their hands up?
I was just going to say that.
Okay, how about 30 seconds? How do you know the Quran's from God?
The Quran has miracles.
Okay, well, how do you know that's from God?
Because those miracles are true.
Okay, let's give it to someone else. Let's see who we can add.
We'll come back here, inshallah. Brother in the back.
30 seconds. How do you know Quran's from Allah?
Oh, because it's preserved throughout the time.
Excellent. There you go. Very simple. Okay, what else?
And the knowledge that's contained in it, it's not contradictory.
Excellent. It doesn't contradict anything. It doesn't contradict itself. Khalas. 2 lines. He's already given me some evidence. I can question that evidence. That's a secondary point. This brother's here asking.
Yeah.
So we already got preservation and contradiction. So we got 2 out of the way.
The Quran also tells us that if it was made by anybody other than God, produce a surah like it. And to this day, nobody has produced anything like it.
Excellent. It has a challenge for mankind that this book is inimitable. Excellent. That's the third thing. See, we do know. See, I telling you, you don't need me to teach you dawah. You already know this stuff. Yes. There's a sister in the back over there. Okay, excellent. It took 2 days for the sisters to get involved.
So
That's not true. Many sisters were talking. Please forgive me for
yeah,
that.
no, it also has stories from the past and the future, and
Yeah.
that shows like.
Yeah, it has some historical context from the past and the future. Excellent, excellent. These are all good things. Excellent. Yeah, we'll do 2 more just because I want to save time, because this is all coming now. Yes.
It's the only book that people can memorize.
Yeah, it's the only book that has man's transmission of chain of millions of people around the world that have memorized, they've cover to cover. No other book is like that. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to stop this. This class is done. You already dealt with all the answers. Yes.
There is no other book like this, and how it was given to humankind is a miracle. There is no example like that.
Excellent. It's
And,
transcending.
No one can produce or copy or like give some kind of this book.
Excellent. It's the trend. Remember the 3 things? There must be a creator, or there must be a first cause. The book should be consistent internally, externally. And the third part was it should have signposts to the transcending. This is the transcending being. We're talking about a transcending thing. No human being can produce something like that. Khalas, end of story. The class is done. I'm finished. Let's go home. No, let's just elaborate them a little bit more, not too deep. Here's some things, and there's many more, by the way. There's many more, and it can get very, very deep. But these are some for you to really think about. Again, they're all in your notes. If you don't have the notes, please go see my admin. She will send you the notes. Number 1, it's preserved. Who has copies of the Quran? Can we look at 1509, so we're not making this up? 1509. Yes, brother, read it. If you can quote the ayah in Arabic and then give the translation in English, profound. Profound. Yeah.
Oh, okay. In Nanahu.
No, I'm not saying for you. I'm saying in the dawah. Just say the verse in English. That's okay.
Lo, we reveal the reminder, and lo, we
Okay, we need to find a different translation. Can we?
like a better one.
Yeah. We need to like just some people that would understand that with the low and the. We don't use these words.
Okay.
Maybe 100 years ago.
It is certainly we who have revealed the reminder, and it is certainly we who will preserve it.
Excellent. So Allah is saying that He's preserving the message. So how is Allah preserving the message? How is He preserving it? Somebody said it already. Yes. Allahu Akbar. The chest of the believers. Okay. Premises. I want to make some prerequisites now so we don't have to go backwards. Islam is not just a written form. This is why the Christians have a challenge at their hand. That's why I will not accept Christianity, because they only rely on written. The companions were taught Islam or the Quran. How? Orally. Paper was not invented, brothers and sisters. Yes? And the companion they were what? Adlun dubbed. They were, I'll explain these words in a minute. Adlun dab. Everybody here knows in the Arabic language what adl means, right? So now we know what the word adlun means. The people that were, here's the point we're making. And you know what? I'll add another caveat. You know, I don't quote the Bible, and I don't make the Bible as my yardstick of truth, okay? But even some pieces of the Bible that we can say maybe some truth in it, okay? There's a verse in the Bible. Again, my Bible is not my yardstick of truth. I'm not saying, oh my God, because the Bible said it must be true. But you can show them that even in the Bible says that there will be a man that will come from Bakka, yeah, and he will call out the Lord's name from the mountaintop, and he will come with 10,000 saints. Okay, what does it have to do with this Islam? Saint, awliya of Allah, or like pious people, okay? And they will have the fiery law in their hands. I'm maybe chopping up the verse. I'm not quoting exactly, but this is just the meaning of it. Why is that important? Because the only place, Makkah, which is modern day Makkah, the only man that called out from the mountaintops is, we call it the azan. Okay, I'm not saying this is the yardstick of truth. I'm just kind of get you to think. And he came with how many soldiers, how many Sahaba soldiers? Sorry, misquote that, delete. How many companions were with the Prophet ﷺ in the Fatah Makkah? 10,000 soldiers, or why do I keep soldiers? Sahabas, because they were in a battle, actually. It was a battle. I am quoting it right. I'm just saying is, they came, and what did they all believe in? Allah and His Messenger. They had a fiery law. I'm not saying that's the truth. But what I'm saying is, the preservation of the Quran, and this is just from their worldview. Our worldview, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has preserved the Quran in our hearts. So the companion were adlun dubbed. So that's where we're talking about adl. They were the most just. That's why we said yesterday, the Sahabas didn't break laws. The Sahabas were the most just. If they individually had some sins, that's between them and Allah. But collectively, they were adlun dubbed. Yeah, don't give me this argument. Oh, one Sahabi used to drink alcohol. Come on, give me a break. This is not an argument. Yeah, collectively, the companions feared Allah and they obeyed the Prophet ﷺ. So when we're saying the Prophet ﷺ taught them Islam and shared the message of Islam and taught them, right? They were our example. They were adlun dubbed. Who can tell me what dubbed means? Sheikh, you've done Sharia, yeah? What is dubbed?
Brothers, please pass the microphone.
If somebody can pass the Sheikh.
Turn it on.
What is dubbed?
Yeah, it's the accuracy in telling hadith. So in conveying the hadith of Muhammad.
Excellent. Excellent. So what does that mean, Sheikh? Just for the enlightenment of the people.
Okay, so in every hadith we have a sanad, we have the matan. So the words are the hadith, and we have the sanad, who said this sentence till
when
getting
they
to,
said it. Yeah.
when they said it till getting to Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. So dabt means that the hadith that was said by this Sahabi is accurate and it's legitimate, it's sahih. This is the dabt. So they do not change their hadith with time or with person to another person.
Excellent.
This is saying.
Excellent. So let me give you more context, okay? Jazakallah khair, Ustad. Sheikh. Let me give you more context, okay? So, we have, when it comes to, now, the same thing that we have for the Quran, okay? We have for the hadith as well. The people that have delivered the Quran have delivered the hadith as well. The same source has brought both. It's not like they selected, they said, okay, we'll send you the Quran, but we'll change the hadith. No, they were the same carriers of the same package. It's like, I always give this example to people. When the mailman comes to you and says, I got these 2 boxes, I'm the UPS guy, I got these 2 boxes for you. They all came from the same company. It has the same box, the same label, and the same receiver. Can you sign for these 2 boxes, please? They say, no. I'll take this one, but this one I'm not sure. Well, what am I not making this sure about? What logic am I using to say this one is from the right source and this one's not? You get the point here. That when people say, oh, I don't accept this hadith because I'm not sure. I've heard Muslims say this, wallahi. I'm not sure. You don't have to be sure. If it's sahih, it's from Allah and His Messenger, that becomes a hukam on you to accept it. Whether you like it or not. So the source of them were the same. So when we're talking about adlun dab, we were saying that, can we have a cleaner? There was a wiping cleaner. So when we're saying they were adlun dubbed, we're saying that, so what did the Sheikh say over there? just to enlighten on people. Then not only do we have the matan, which is the text, yeah, we have the sanad. What is the sanad? It's the chain. So we have a chain that starts from the Prophet ﷺ, right, to the next companion, which to the next companion, which goes to the next companion, all the way to today when it was put in a book form, all the way to today, this book has never been changed till 2023, okay? And we have not only the written transmission, okay, of this stuff, of the hadith, we have the oral tradition alongside with it. So they were adlun dubbed. So this is now we're talking about sanad. Now they were so much in depth with matan that when they said a hadith, not only did they say the words, if they weren't sure that they heard the words a bit different, they recorded what they heard a bit different, or they think they heard it that way. So not only the matan, they knew that not only the sanad, we have the matan. Wallahi, wallahi, I'm telling you, wallahi, I'm serious. If you guys go study why Islam is preserved, if your sajda doesn't on your own time becomes longer, then come tell me. Because you'll be like, thank God I'm not a non-Muslim. Thank God I'm a Muslim. We have a course, one Sheikh Abedin, Zayd bin Abedin, he has a markaz in Morocco. He came to Imam Bukhari Center in Milton. He's actually from Montreal. He came a 4-day workshop and other mashayikhs, and they give a workshop on the preservation of the sunnah. Me and my family and even Brother Khidr was there. We were just blown away of what this is the problem. The Muslim Ummah, we don't know. This is our issue. The issue is we don't know. That's the problem. Yes, brother. Yeah, wallahi, I'm just touching the surface here. I didn't go to the root canal yet. This is just starting. And I don't have time to go to do the root canal.
The Sunnah can never be manipulated. You know?
Exactly.
Sahih Sunnah and the Quran.
Yeah.
So if someone tries to, first of all, play with or argue that the Sahaba might be malicious, that would affect both the sources of Hadith and the Quran.
Exactly. Excellent point, brother. Jazakallah khair. Not only that, I want to add another layer to it, right? Not that only with the adlun dubbed, we need to understand. I say this, the Sahabas, the 200 years from the time of the Prophet ﷺ and the 200 years of that era, they were walking, talking servers. That's a statement I'm making. They were walking, talking servers. Let that sink in for a second. All of us, anyone here over 40, please put your hands up. I am over 40. Put your hands up. Do you guys remember in the 80s, we didn't have phones to save numbers. And we could memorize how many numbers? Sometimes 30, 40 people's different numbers, 9-digit numbers with area codes. Today, I can't even remember my wife's phone number. It's terrible. But the argument here comes is, do we not have people that have memorized the Quran cover to cover? Yes or no? How many? Millions. Somebody looked up in Google or somewhere and they said there was about, Google says 30 million people that have memorized the Quran cover to cover. I personally believe, from what I've listened to different mashayikhs, there's probably 30 million just in Egypt alone. But let's just say for the argument's sake, there's only 30 million. That means when Allah says, I will preserve the message for you, in Ottawa alone, I was in a small city called Windsor. One sheikh alone has 500 huffaz under him. In one small city in nowhere in Ontario. Do you guys understand the concept? If someone says that Islam is not preserved, they're lying to themselves or they're completely lost it. And they have no idea what they're talking about. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I'm going to preserve the message. It's in the hearts, in the millions of people around the globe. Even if we took every Quran out of the world, every Quran of the world. We burned it. Within 3 hours, 3 or 2 Hufaz will come together and they will correct each other and it'll be written back up. Tell me, is there anything bigger preservation than that? I want to add more to it. So the word, and I'm not picking on any, I'm not making this into be derogatory to anyone. The word gay, what does it mean today? LGBT, right? What did it mean 100 years ago? Happy. So see, the same word took on a different meaning, yes? Agree? It took on a different meaning. And words always take on different meanings. Here's the point. The point is, in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and after, within 100 years of his life, we had a full dictionary of every single word and what it meant at that time. Do you guys understand how profound that is? If someone comes to you today and say, bro, I read the hadith, it doesn't really mean this, it means that. I say, okay, let's go back to this dictionary within the 100 years of the Prophet ﷺ, and let's ask, what did it mean back then for them? Do you guys understand how profound this is? So not only do we have the matan, not only do we have the sanad, not we don't have the preservation of adlun dub, we even have the understanding of the words and the meanings within 100 years of the Prophet ﷺ. Do you guys understand this so profound? Yes. I can get it for you. I don't have it now, but I can get it for you, inshallah. See me after. We'll talk about it, yeah? Here's what I'm saying. Let's go one more further, yeah? So, not only do we have, you guys ever heard of the telephone game? What's the telephone game? Can somebody tell me? What's the telephone game? Yes.
Much the word has changed.
So, person 1 tells something to person 2, the person 2 tells it to 3, and 3 tells to 4. By the time it comes back from the room, the person 1 has a completely different understanding of what the person 1 told 3, 4, right? That's really what the telephone game is. See, Islam, Allah wanted to preserve the deen. So how do we deal with this contention of the telephone chain? Because this is what they think. Oh, okay, so you have so many people that memorize the Quran. Okay, so you have the dictionary. But they could have still misunderstood it, no? How do we answer that question? Yes. Yeah, which is we have the mutawatir reporting. Excellent. We have a mutawatir reporting. What else? Yeah, they were adlun dubbed. They were pious. They were practicing. They feared Allah. They were God conscious. Yes.
So when all of these factors combine together, we're not dealing with a single line of a telephone game. We're dealing with more than tens of different lines that are saying the exact same thing.
Excellent.
And if you see that as illogical, you're actually getting against the principles of science and knowledge of humanity, not only Quran and Sunnah.
So here's what I'm saying, brother and sister, before you answer, brother, just 1 second. Here's what I'm saying. When people see us as confident Muslims, it's not because I'm strong and I lift weights at the gym and I can sing amazing nasheeds and I wow people, okay? That's not what it is. It's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me the blessing to be able to give me guidance to understand this matter. So that will give you your certainty will get you to understand Islam. But moving forward, last thing about this telephone chain. We have how many sciences behind the Quran? There's almost 30 to 35 sciences behind the Quran. The balagha, the rhetoric, the tajweed, and so many. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, there's an ayah, I'm paraphrasing, recite the Quran slowly and distinctly. You guys probably know this ayah, yeah? In the Arabic, yes? Do you guys know the ayah? What's the ayah, brother Khidr? Do you know? Does anybody know here? Yeah. So what do we learn from that? The Sahabas, when they heard this ayah, They didn't read it like parrots. They read it because they knew it was Kalam Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't you reflect upon the book of Allah, or there's hearts that they're sealed on your heart. I'm paraphrasing. What I'm saying is, read it. Even the Prophet ﷺ to beautify your recitation. So when we read the Quran, the tajweed basically means, like if I say, let's say there's a war happening and the general says, let's advance. It's a commandment he's given. What if somebody didn't hear properly and said, let's go to a dance? The same line, someone explained it something different. Yes? So Islam, the Prophet ﷺ and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted this to be preservation. The Sahabas understood this. So not only did they preserve the Quran, not only did they preserve the Matan, not only did they preserve the Sanad, not only the Abdun Dab, they even preserve the recitation. So there's no misunderstanding of how the Quran. This destroys the telephone argument. Okay? So this is just, again, we can spend hours on this. But let's just stop at here. That's good enough to kind of give you some flavor. So, the Quran is preserved. The book is inimitable. What does inimitable means? No human being can produce something like the Quran. I'll give you an example. If we would take this phone and I send it to China, do all of the necessary tools to create a phone like this, does it exist for to send it to China and someone can produce a similar phone like it? Yes? Okay, good. We have all of the necessary tools to replicate a Quran like it. We have the Arabic language. We have the preservation. We have the understanding of the dictionary. We have the language that's here with us today. Yes, the Quran is here. The Fusha language is still alive. I know all the Arabs don't speak it, or maybe one tribe here and there, right? Or Yemen, or so on and so forth. The majority of the people don't speak Fusha, but the language still exists. Every necessary tool to recreate a Quran, Allah has preserved it. So Allah says to us in the Quran, first for the companions, He says, if you're in doubt what we send down to our servant Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then produce a book like it. And the Arabs, who were the masters of the language, failed to produce something like it. Then Allah made the challenge easier. If you're in doubt, then come with what? 10 surahs like it. And the Arabs couldn't do it. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Baqarah, ayah number 23. Who wants to read it? This should be just like second nature for us. All of us should be reading it. Who can read it, please?
Brothers, pass him the mic.
Somebody has the mic? Yes. If you have the mic, you read it. If not, give it to someone else who can read it. There's a Quran in someone's hand?
Left. The front. Yeah.
Ayat Surah Baqarah 23. Well, no, it's not on.
And if you are in doubt about what we have related to our servant, then produce a chapter like it. And
Slow down. So say it slowly, yeah, but loudly. Yeah? If you're in doubt what we send down to our servant Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then produce
a chapter like it.
A chapter. One chapter like it. Yeah? Keep going.
A chapter like it, and call your helpers other than God.
Here's what Allah is saying. He's saying, look, go out and find anyone other than Allah, anything. Aliens, robots, computers, whatever you want to find, and produce one surah like it, if you are truthful, yeah?
And if what you say is true.
Okay? And then there's more. We don't need to get into that one right now. Anyone can read it. So, the book of Allah, the best people that can challenge this were the Arabs of the 7th century. No Arab today can even come to the mastery of the language of what the 7th century Arabs were able to do. But the challenge is still open for every single human being till the end of time. No human being can produce one surah like the Quran. What's the smallest surah in the Quran? Al-Kawthar. How many lines? 3 lines. How many words? 10 words. Yeah, but the challenge is the surah. from what I understood, Sheikh. So here's what we're saying, yeah? I'm saying no human being has been able to produce 10 words like the Quran, but all of the necessary tools are still in existence. It's not like they're gone. Do you guys understand this? So this is just the preservation, the imitability. Okay, let's keep moving. Do you want to add? Go ahead. Excellent question. So the brother is asking, who judges that? What did Allah say? Call what? Anyone other than Allah. Anyone. But I'm going to ask you a question. I think this is a beautiful carpet in this masjid. Would you agree? It's a beautiful carpet. If whoever lays down this carpet makes the claim, this is the best laying carpet on the planet Earth, there's no one who could do it better than me, who would be able to judge that? No. I'm saying among the human beings. Another expert of carpets. So when Allah says, call anyone other than Allah, than helper, who can understand that? The people that understand the language. Wallahi, I do Arabic studies. I'm learning grammar. Not that good at it, but I'm learning, struggling, fighting myself. I tell you something, I see my teachers, their eyes are crying from reading the ayats of Allah because it's affecting them. It's like they're like crying, and they're not Arabs, by the way, because they are the linguists that understand. So Muslims and non-Muslims testify in the time of the Prophet ﷺ till today that this book is inimitable. The non-Muslims say, look, we don't know how it came about. That's why they're not Muslim. But they do say it's inimitable. And the ones that accept it, they accept Islam. Yes. Yeah.
Pass him the mic, brother.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I want to keep this in like 40 minutes too. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying that the verse I think that you were searching for, number one, is لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به إن علينا جمعه وقرآنه. You were saying that you shouldn't repeat the verses of the Quran after me. Allah is saying to Prophet Muhammad, we're gonna preserve it, so don't worry about that. You were saying that there is a verse in the Quran. That's it.
Sorry,
I was just saying you're searching for it, and
oh, you know the verse? I don't understand what you're saying.
لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به إن علينا جمعه وقرآنه. You were saying that there's a verse in the Quran for which it states that we shouldn't say the Quran in a rapid way,
like a really fast way.
Yeah,
okay,
Allah
okay.
will preserve it. So this
Inshallah.
is it.
Yeah, on the heart of the Prophet. Yes. Agreed. But the meaning is there, right? So when we look at an ayah, the ayah is not restricted unless there's a dalil that is restricted. Yes, there's an evidence why it's restricted. So it's open for us to understand it that way, no? Like, for example, it was descended on the Prophet's heart. But anyway, you know what? I'm not getting into Islamic discourse. It's okay. Okay, next. So, number 3 is a clear message, okay, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right, to human beings who Allah is. About Surah Ikhlas, right? Surah Ikhlas tells us who Allah is. Okay, very simple. A universal message. What does that mean, universal? Every person in this room is, I think every second or third person is from a different country. We have people from Pakistan, we have people from Bangladesh, we have from Egypt, we have from Syria, we have from, every nationality is probably in this room. No skin colors, no this. Every human being, it's a universal message. Okay? Falsification test. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if this book was anyone other than Allah, you'll find contradictions in it. We talked about this. Accuracies of historical, multi-layered approach. People in the 7th century would understand the nature of the Quran, of their context, of how they understood it. And that still makes sense today with even more advancement. And if you need more references, it's in your text there. Okay? So, The only humble advice we would say is just be careful when we say understanding the scientific miracles in the Quran. The book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it gives you the natural phenomenon of the creation, like I was listening to one sheikh from Africa, I think he's passed away, subhanAllah, my name will come to me. He says we don't say scientific miracles. We say sunan of Allah. What is sunan of Allah? Yes. I don't hear you, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Descriptions of Allah subhanahu
Yeah.
and His qudra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His signs.
Excellent. So the point I'm trying to make, we as human beings look at some laws in the universe. We see these patterns that are happening and we look at them and we give them names. This is gravity. This is this. This is that. Right? These are patterns that we as human beings are looking at and we give them names. This is science. This is this. You understand? So what we're saying, the sunnah of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows His creation better than us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never contradict Himself. He understands the creation better than us. What we're saying is, we're not, okay, so here, why is this coming up with? Sometimes the youth in universities are always talking about science in Islam, which we're not negating that there isn't sunan of Allah. There's not Allah understands the creation of Allah and He explains that. Yeah? Because the challenge is, but if we're gonna use, who understands what is science here? Anybody took philosophy of science? Put your hands up if you took philosophy of science. I think every single Muslim should go and just read what is philosophy of science. Maybe even a small baby book. I asked a simple question. Does science lead to certainty? That's the question. No. Science is a mutable endeavor. It changes. So we take the sunnah of Allah, the one who created the universe, who understands the universe better than human beings understand it, and then we say, well, let me tell you about the scientific miracles of Islam. So what happens to that person, and I've seen many young people, they're like, you know, I don't believe in Islam anymore because it contradicts science. Yeah? Because their yardstick of truth is science. It's not Allah and His messenger. You guys understand? So what we say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the creation. He knows it better than us. Even if it contradicts, which it doesn't, there's nothing in the Quran that contradicts the natural phenomena of the creation. But even if it does, like for example, Islam contradicts evolution, straight up. Human beings didn't come from monkey, I'm sorry. You don't like it? That's what Allah says. It understands us better than we do. You weren't there. You know, evolution has problems, assumptions, and disputes. And they have ikhtilaf among themselves. But that's not the point. I'm trying to say, we want to educate our kids or our youth that Islam is the haqq, and if science complements Islam, khalas, it complements it. So our haqq is Islam, and if science is understanding what Islam already understands, khalas, that's good. Like 100 years ago, the universe didn't have a beginning. It was static state model. Does that mean Muslims were disbelievers 100 years ago? No. They said it's a well-confirmed theory, the universe is a static state. Today we understand the universe had a beginning. Fine. Tomorrow we can go back to our model, and they're working on this now. The universe didn't have a beginning. So what will we do now? Today we use Big Bang as explaining Islam. When they go, the science, there's an ijma of consensus of the scholars say, yeah, or scientists, they say, you know what? No, the universe didn't have a beginning. What will we all do? We'll pack up the Quran and say, we're done? Do you guys understand what I'm trying to get at? We don't use science to explain Islam. Islam explains Islam, and science comes and confirms what already Islam knows. And if it doesn't confirm it, it goes against it, we reject it. Because we don't need science to prove Islam. Islam is one path of knowledge, one epistemology, and science is another epistemology. That's all. Epistemology basically means what you know and how you know what you know. That's all. Okay? So we just wanted to put that out there now. So you are speaking Islam. Islam doesn't need anything to explain Islam. Islam itself is enough powerful. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the sunnah of Allah, when He explains the creation, is to do what? To get you from rububiyyah to uluhiyyah. What is rububiyyah? The creative power of Allah. It gets you to think about Allah created this. Look at this. Look at that. Observe this. Get you from rububiyyah, that are you not going to do sajda to Allah? He deserves to be worshipped. That's the point. Okay? So, that was just a summary in the fastest way I can do this. And there's a lot more we can, if anybody needs more references, anything like that, see me afterwards. I can send you the references of things that I talked about. If anybody needs the preservation of sunnah, I can give you the references, how you want to go really deep into these topics, and they'll help you to understand, inshallah. Okay, so we're going to do a role play now. And what we're going to do, we're going to keep it very simple. I'm going to do a role play by myself. I don't need anyone. Hey, John, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? So obviously, we've had a discussion. You believe in God. You believe He's one. You believe the Prophet. You believe the Quran. Sorry, let me say that. You believe in God. You believe He's one. Now we talked about problem of Yusuf. We dealt with you had an issue with your mom passing away and so on and so forth. Now let me explain to you why the Quran is from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Okay, here's the thing. We believe that the Quran is preserved. Okay, for the last 1400 years. You explain it. That the Quran is inimitable. No human being can produce something similar to it. Blah, 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 blah. You explain that. And then explain, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us who He is in Wahi, in Quran. And then you explain, Qul huwallahu ahad. You explain that in English, in Arabic, and then you explain it in English. So on and so forth. Based on what he needs, someone can you give him, like, wallahi, sometimes I've just given preservation. That's all I talked about. He's like, really? Wow, I had no idea. Even Christians be like, really? Millions of people know this by heart? You don't need books? That is enough for them. If someone is truthful, guys, wallahi, I said this yesterday, I'll say it again. If someone is truthful, one evidence is enough for him. If he's asking you over and over about 50 evidences, then his fitrah is in conflict. There's other things that are going on. Stop arguing with him. Talk about pizza. Talk about coffee. Take him out and do something else with him. Or leave him alone for a while. Let him go think and come back. Cool? So, let's do it. Bismillah. What we're going to ask everyone, please, remember what we said since yesterday. I've been saying this. We're building tools one step at a time. And we're learning how to speak so we can apply this in a really quick way. So everybody please stand and pair up in twos. And then I'm going to be coming around, listening to each one of you. Just pretend like I'm not there. I want to hear you guys explaining. I'm just helping you to correct something that I can add to make it a little bit better. Doesn't mean I know more, okay? Inshallah. Guys, somebody asked me, can you put the slide of the discussion? There's the discussion. Manual for life. Does not, recommendation, we have a manual for life. God has sent us scriptures to help us, right? The Quran is a wahi from Allah, kalam Allah. And then we talk about preservation, imitability, concept of God, and so on and so forth. Inshallah. Let him do what they All right, brothers and sisters. All right, brothers and sisters, if you guys can take a seat. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Can we take a seat? All right, here's the thing. I have a solution. I had a solution. No, wallahi, no, I've done this in the before. I have a solution. I have a solution to today's challenge. The solution is, after we're done with the training today, we do a follow-up training online, on Zoom. We all meet together. It only takes half an hour, 1 hour. We set it around maybe 2 weeks from now. It could be Monday through Friday and an evening. So when we're all free, or somewhat free. We set up that meeting and let all of this stuff sink in your head. And think about it and process it and read the notes that we gave you. And this follow-up reading, we discuss that, did you try to apply it? Did you understand it? Where you were having challenges? And I think that will be more fruitful versus trying to hash every single thing out in this class. What do you guys think about that? Raise your hand if you agree with this. Excellent. So I have 99% of the people are willing to do another meeting 2 weeks from now on Zoom on a weeknight, and we come together and we process what we learn, and that would be just Q&As. There'd be no this. Okay? Okay, brother, we want to talk about Quran. How do we explain this? And we learn from each other's experience as well. Okay? Yes, brother. Yeah, we're going to do the test too. That's why I'm trying to rush through, yeah? Okay, so I'm going to skip the role plays for now to move forward to the next part, okay? How would we explain the Prophet ﷺ as a prophet of God? Just so I can move forward faster, I want you guys to do Q&A. I would like you to get a certificate. I would like us to finish as much as we can. Here's what I'm saying. So the way I built this discussion, or the IRA has built this discussion, and how we explain it, I'll tell you where this came from. This came from, for me at least, I went to a Christian missionary, and I've said this yesterday too. They always think that the Prophet ﷺ came for some personal gain, or some power, or some, like, I don't know what their head is, or to unite the Arabs. They have these misunderstandings. So what was the mission of the Prophet ﷺ? We said yesterday was to call to Tawheed, is to worship Allah alone. So whenever we discuss this discussion, they say, well, I understand what the Prophet, he married a 9-year-old and he did this and he did that and he went to this battle, and I can't follow a Prophet that went to war, and all these kind of shubahats they have in their head. Okay? Remember the story we gave of the sister yesterday with one of the mashaykhs, Sheikh Fahad Taslim? I said that she came in a masjid and he said, I would not become a Muslim because Islam teaches about daraba, hitting. And I would not follow a message like that. Okay? And did I tell you the story yesterday or no? Did I not? Okay, anyway, so the sister walked in. The sheikh was there. He sat her down. He said, thank you very much for asking this question. Do you have a few minutes so I can explain some foundations of Islam? Yes, I do. So he sat her down and he went through God, oneness, revelation, prophethood. And he went through that. After this discussion, she accepted Islam. She became Muslim. 1 second. And when she became Muslim, the sheikh had to run out and leave to go to another province or city. And he flew out. And he never actually answered her question. So when he's in the plane, he's like, oh, wait, I didn't answer her question. But she became Muslim. So how do we deal with that? Well, she had a question. One of the brothers said, well, how, they have new Muslim, they have questions. Don't we answer their questions? He didn't answer her question, but she became Muslim. Jazakallah khair, brother. This excellent answer. He equipped her with the right tools to answer her own question, even if he's not there. Excellent. You need a star if I had a star. You get what I'm saying? When we get in these philosophical contentions and argument, we're not solving their problems. Give them the right tools so they can help themselves. That's the point. So the next tool, and then the brother has a question. I don't want to not listen. We already did I don't care. What did we say I don't care? How did we deal with it? Yeah, you like, do you care to brush your teeth every day? Yeah. Well, why do you care? Because I want to brush my teeth because I want to look good. I don't want to smell bad. I don't want my teeth to rot. So that means something will go wrong. If you're worried about your teeth so much, what about your akhirah? Kufr will always contradict itself. Here they're so worried about, I don't care, but you do care. That's why Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah says the mulhideen are liars because they lie to themselves. Anyway, okay, the next necessary tool that we're giving in our arsenal of our tools of construction bag is, how do we know the Prophet is the prophet of God? So here's how we built this discussion. Because we need to explain it in the right context, not building the discussion. The Sahabas, the companions, this is how they built, this is how they convey the message. That the Prophet's mission was, La ilaha illallah. There's no other deity that deserves to be worshipped except Allah. And the Prophet is a messenger of God. Now, because he says he's a messenger of God, we don't just accept it. Just someone comes to you today and say, yeah, you know, God spoke to me and he says, I'm a prophet, follow me. Will you follow that guy? No. What did you say to him? What's your proof? Show me your proof. Right? Logically, even if you were an idiot and you didn't know and you're like, okay, he would have to give you some dalil, some evidence. And what we're saying here is, so how do we know the Prophet is a prophet? I'll tell you this, we've done this 1,000 times. Every Muslim community we go to, we realize that every Muslim, not we realize, we know Muslims know this more than we know it. So here's the question. So what did we say yesterday? We're giving you the skeleton and you're putting the frames inside. You're building the walls. We're giving you the bones. You're going to put the meat in. Here's the, yes.
And deduces that he's a true prophet of God.
Yeah.
He said this is someone that is azizun fi qawmi. He has a great family roots.
Yes.
So he's not searching for.
Yeah.
And he is followed by the poor and those that are being harmed by the society in a way.
Yeah.
And in a way, even when he was shown the money by Kuffar Quraysh for him to become a king and Aziz in the Qawm, he refused that all. Why would someone refuse wealth if he was seeking it in the first place? Why would someone endure all the harm that he had endured?
I'm listening to you, just so you know, I'm not just looking at it, but I am listening to you.
Endure the harm that he had endured, endure the risks and of death of him and his family, and leave his home, leave his place, if it weren't for the truth and him being a true prophet of God.
Okay, so here's how we're going to build the discussion. This is how we're going to build the discussion. What was his message? La ilaha illallah. There's no other deity that deserves to be worshipped. So there's only a few possibilities. Either he was lying, or he was deluded, or he was speaking the truth. That's the discussion. And these are ayats from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, your companion is not mad, okay? Your companion is not strayed. He's not deluded. He does not speak his own hawa, his own desires, okay? So we know from these ayats, we build, because there's a Christians, they build a similar argument for Isa alayhi salam. So if you go to a missionary, be like, oh yeah, we have a similar argument for Jesus, peace be upon him. Well, at least we say peace be upon him. They don't even say that. But to show them, no, we're not making this up. This is in the book of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us. So we have the robust understanding how we're building this argument, okay, or this discussion. So I want you guys to tell me why he's not a liar. Why he's not a liar. Excellent. Even before revelation, he was known as Sadiq and Ameen. But what does that mean in English? The most honest and the most trustworthy. Okay, yes. Excellent, good question. I knew he was going to come up. You want to make my life difficult today, huh? Excellent. Actually, you know what? We don't have lots of time, but here's what I'm saying. We have historical documents to prove that this man was the most honest and trustworthy. How do you know Genghis Khan existed? How do you know Genghis Khan existed? History books. So when we talk about the Prophet ﷺ, you question. You get what I'm saying? But when it comes to, it's like, how do you know George Washington crossed the Delaware Bridge? You weren't there, I wasn't there. But when it comes to the Prophet ﷺ, they want, oh, how do you know? It's like Islamic history doesn't mean nothing. Right? So don't let them say that to you, okay? I want to try not to save some time because we have a Q&A. I'm trying to tell you that don't let them say that to you, yeah? Show them how robust Islam is by learning the preservation of Islam. Very, very important to show them that they're being inconsistent, not us. They're the ones that are disingenuous. There's more evidence on the Prophet ﷺ than any human being on the living earth. I want, brother, your name, sorry? Abdullah. I want you to tell me 5 people that are connected to Obama directly. Michelle Obama, Donald, they're not connected to him directly. What's their name of the kids? And I don't want different people, I just want him to know. Joe Biden, that's 2. Who's Kamala Harris? She's not connected to him. Here's what I'm trying to prove from this point. You can't even name 5 people that are connected to Obama, which wasn't even here 20 years ago. For the Prophet ﷺ, we know every single person that he was connected to, where they were born, how many children they had, when did they die, what city did they live in, what was their deen like, were they adlun, were they dubbed. We know every single thing about them. So when they say to you Islamic history, oh, how do I trust your sources? Our sources are far more superior than your sources. You need to demolish them. Like sometimes I just bulldoze them over in a positive way. Just literally bulldoze them. They're like, argh! Okay? Islam is that powerful, bro. I'm telling you. Wallahi. This is not a joke. Anyway. And this is why these Christian missionaries are like completely, I don't even waste my time to even, somebody said, why don't we start doing videos to refute these Christians? I don't have time. I wouldn't even waste my time with these guys. Wallahi, it's just a waste. Somebody has to do it. I don't need to do it. I'd rather do this. I'd rather empower the Muslims to be strong Muslims. And somebody I was taking in lunch in the afternoon. A strong Muslim is a strong da'i. End of story. A strong Muslim is a strong da'i. End of story. Okay, so we know he wasn't lying. Okay, let's just go straight to it. The Prophet ﷺ was known, right? His character even before prophethood, right? As-Sadiq and Ameen, looked after the orphans, looked after the elderly. What liar looks after elderly and, right? Okay, who is trustworthy? He was known to be the trustworthy and honest. Even his enemies attest to this. It's easy to get your brother and your sister and your cousin to lie for you. But to get your enemies to lie for you, it's next to impossible. They will expose you in a second. Did you get it? So the Prophet ﷺ, even his enemies attest for that. What happened when he moved to Medina? This is why, wallahi, brothers and sisters, if you haven't studied the seerah, like I always say this, sometimes I say this privately. In the beginning, when I started to study Islam on my own, which was very problematic, I was like, this Quran doesn't make sense. It's very illogical. It's not logical. It doesn't have a rhythm. It doesn't have a storyline. Wallahi, I tell you from my understanding now, Allah defies logic. What makes logic logic? Do you understand? Allah is far beyond what human beings can even think of. So we need to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not only saved the message, He has preserved every single element of Islam. So when we look at the story of the Ali radiallahu anha, when he was told by the Prophet ﷺ when he was going to Medina, what did he say? He said, even they were trying to kill him. And they said, what did he say? He said, make sure you return their goods. Right? And these people that wanted to kill the Prophet ﷺ. You get what I'm saying? So even his enemies attest to it. Abu Sufyan and Hercules hadith is very long. Wallahi. Sometimes I go in this topic here alone, just this hadith for like 30 minutes, 20 minutes. It's so profound. And I had one of the sheikhs give me so much depth into this hadith. I was like, whoa. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. So why do people lie usually? Why do people lie? Personal gain. I had a Muslim guy in one of the universities, like, he had no idea. He never studied the seerah. He doesn't know. He's like, oh, maybe he wanted to make money. I say, the Prophet ﷺ died penniless. He had few items to his name. So if you think he actually, before he started his salah, he was well off. Do you understand? Any discussion or any argument when people will come about the Prophet ﷺ, his life will tell you the answer. Do you understand? So people lie for money, people lie for power, right? He was given women, he was offered women, he was offered power. Okay, he rejected it. Why he wasn't deluded, right? Listen to this. You know what deluded means? Does everybody know what deluded means? No, it doesn't necessarily mean crazy. It could. It's someone who is delusional, who thinks they're speaking the truth. Like, for example, I was in Hamilton and there's a guy normal guy, like he's homeless, normal is what you want to call it. And I used to speak to him, I used to go and give him food, right? And he'd be like, yeah, so me and Trump, we're going to get together and we're setting up an army and we're going to take, I don't know if he said, we're going to attack Russia or something. I'm just crazy deluded, right? It's deluded. What I'm trying to say, when we look at the Prophet ﷺ, tell me if a delusional person can come up with dietary laws, how to maintain yourself, okay? How to deal with your family, your children, your parents, how to deal with your neighbors, how to deal with your wife, you understand? So on and so forth. An economical system. Yesterday I said, if you want to take a really good course on Islamic finance, I don't know why I'm always upselling this course, like Sheikh is giving me some money. It's called Real Deal. And the reason I upsell it is not because I want you to go sell it or watch it, nor do I get like props for it. But I really, really believe that Muslims, we have no idea about Islamic finances. And I think this is one of the fitna we have. There's a really good course called Real Deal by Sheikh Tawfiq Chaudhry, who's a scholar that graduated from Medina on Islamic finances. And I'm sure there's many other out there. Go take an Islamic finances course. It will completely change your world. He has the Prophet ﷺ brought a complete from Allah economical system, okay? Family life, criminal law, hygiene, rituals, etiquettes. Can a deluded person do this? Okay? The prophecies of so many things the Prophet ﷺ, by the way, all of this is in your notes and more, I know. Okay? All of this is in your notes, okay? Things that are happening now in our life that the Prophet ﷺ foretold of in the future, like the Mongol invasion, like, that there'll be Bedouin Arabs competing with one another, building tall buildings, and so on and so forth, okay? This, wallahi, it needs at least 2 hours, this discussion. But just to kind of give you a flavor, to get you to understand. Yes, brother. Salam.
Pass him the mic, brothers.
Yeah. He's better, yeah. Yeah, Jazakallah khair. Good question. Here's the question. When you die, ask them, when you die, do you die? Like, okay, here's a question. Here's how I would answer the question. Hey, David, let me ask you a question. Who are you? I'm David. Who's David? David is me, man. I'm David. Okay, David. If we were to cut, obviously we wouldn't do this. Islam forbid us to do violence or anything. You put those caveats in, yeah? So they don't misquote you. And even on the computer, on the camera here. So David, if we were to cut your arm, are you still David? Yeah, I'm David. If we were to cut your legs, would you still David? Yeah, I'm still David. Okay, if we put you through a meat grinder, are you still David? Obviously we wouldn't do that, David, but I'm just making an experiment, thought experiment. Yeah, I don't know now. So what I'm saying, what is you? As a human being, we are a what? We are ruh, we are soul. So the soul, does the soul die? That's your answer. Okay? Okay, so that's really it, brothers. We're going to just quickly go through. This is usually we do practice in the last one, the practice in this one. We're running out of time here. Inshallah, we'll do a follow-up meeting. We'll do at least good 2 hours and we'll discuss. And we might even do role plays online because we can do that, inshallah. Okay, so what do we do? I know it's 3 minutes, but are we doing the next slide or?
We should stop for wudu and then salah.
What time is salah, Sheikh? 3:30. Okay, can I just get 7 minutes for the contentions?
How much you pay?
This.
How much you pay?
I pay $50.
Every day for 25 minutes.
Okay, I need 7 minutes to just go through this one slide. 7 minutes.
Not Egyptian time.
Not Egyptian, in Canadian time. Or
Pakistani time.
no, actually, I'm sorry, I'll take that. In the Muslim time. Muslim time, alhamdulillah. Okay, question first. We don't have any evidence of God. How do we answer that? Based on what we learned in the last 2 days. I only believe in what I see, right? There's no evidence, there's no God. How do we answer that? Yeah. Huh? Exactly. But here's a hidden presupposition. Do you only believe in everything you see? Have you seen China with your physical eyes? No, but you accept it. Why? Why do you accept China? So you rely on someone else's testimony, right? Which is a valid source of knowledge in epistemology, as long as that person who's saying so is a truthful person. Like, for example, I give this example. If I go to court and I was a witness in someone's accident and I saw the accident happen, now they find out that I lied, and in another court case, a similar scenario, will they accept my testimony? No. In the same way, the companion were adlun dubbed. Yeah? See how it comes back to adlun dubbed again? They were the most honest, trustworthy people that we rely on their testimony, which is a valid source of knowledge in epistemology. Yes? So, we only don't believe in things we just see. I haven't seen the earth is round. I accept it because science, other people, pictures, people went out to space. I accept the testimony of others, which is a valid source of knowledge. I'm not rejecting it, but I'm saying, are those people trustworthy source? Yes. Yeah, okay, but that's deduction based on your aql, which is something still contingent on Allah. Okay, there's answers for everything, bro. Okay? The next one we already covered. Who created God? We did this. We've kind of put this to bed. Evolution, I'm not even going to get into it. Our brother, our new CEO, mashallah, of IRA, his name is Sabur, Brother Sabur. He does a really good course on evolution. If you want to look him up, Sabur Ahmed. It's called Evolution. I'm sure there's other brothers do it too. I'm not sure. But from my understanding, just go look it up. It will solve your problem. But I'm just going to say this. Evolution is based on science. Yes? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm going to get to that. Yeah, not even science. Exactly. So what I'm saying is, but it's a scientific theory. So its foundation is science. So when we said go study philosophy of science, if you understand science doesn't lead to certainty, you have cut the root already. So brother Sabur Ahmed, mashallah, does a great course. It's called Evolution. And he talks about things, has problems, has assumptions, and disputes. PAD. Go take that course. I'll help you with that. Okay. Problem of evil and suffering. We covered that. Jesus is God. The creator doesn't become creation. We've covered that. There's a whole course we do on Christianity. Inshallah, one day maybe we could do it online, or we can maybe figure out another way of doing it. We won't even touch that. The Prophet ﷺ, 3 minutes. The Prophet ﷺ copied the Quran from other sources. How do we answer that? Yeah. Okay, good.
The simple answer is Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was uneducated.
Huh?
So how can he copy such a material
Say that again, brother.
Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was uneducated and he didn't take any education.
Okay, so he wasn't uneducated. He was ummi'een. He didn't know how to read and write.
In a dunyavi way.
Yeah, ummi'een. We want to just
in a dunyavi way, like he never took any education like we.
Yeah. So what we want to say, here's my, just share with you. In my ignorant days, because I'm going to start using jahiliyyah, ignorant days, had a business. I wouldn't do this now, wallahi. My ignorant days, I needed to make a website, and I couldn't come up with original words. So I said, let me just look at what other websites are doing. So I want to copy the words. So what I did was, I went and I looked at other websites, and I looked at the words, what they wrote for their websites. And what happened is, Google blocked me. Why? Because even though I jumbled the words around, they still found similar lines of words. You guys understand? If the Prophet ﷺ borrowed things from different sources, what sources? Number one, you can't bring in the, it's like, oh, I believe in aliens. Aliens must have did it. Well, where are the aliens? Give me your evidence. Don't bring in the unknown. Second point, if you're saying, because usually Christians will say that, yeah? For example, if you look at the Quran and you look at the Bible, the message is similar, has similar concept. There's a creator, he's one, so on and so forth. However, you will not find a single line like the Quran. Yeah, not a single line. The message is consistent in some aspects, but not a single line. Okay, next. Why doesn't God show himself or send angels? How do we answer that? Huh? The simplest answer. If God shows you himself, then the matter is finished. The whole Surah Baqarah, what does it say? What is it? Can somebody read it, please? Surah Baqarah. After Alif Lam Mim. People that believe in the unseen. Allah is from the ilm al-ghaib. And we believe in that. Yes? End of story. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, even if we were to open the sky and show you angel, you would reject it. So it doesn't, you get what I'm saying. So, someone says, I don't follow organized religion. That's a big one. I know it's time's up. Man, just give me 1 minute, 2 minutes. I don't follow organized religion. I don't follow organized religion. Like I don't follow Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, Buddhism. Okay, the answer is, you follow all these worldviews. There's an exit sign. I can only go on a one way. Don't make a U-turn here. You follow man-made organized worldviews, but when it comes to Allah, He's Al-Alim and Al-Hakim, no, I don't find organized religion. Being inconsistent here. Kufr will always contradict itself, okay? The Quran was inspired by the devil. The first, before we even recite the Quran, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. That already destroys it, okay? Every second page, the Quran curses the devil. Tells you only good things. Move on. Okay, that's about it. I think we did all of this. Okay, there was 40 seconds. Excellent. Oh, look, somebody had a clicker. Okay. So what we're going to do, we'll pray, and inshallah, we'll do a Q&A. And then, inshallah, we'll we'll continue the last piece about the Shahada and everything, inshallah. Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah, after Asr, we'll have the Q&A. Brother Ali just mentioned. We'll be giving certificates from the IERA. So we'll have a stand probably there or here, adding the names for everyone who passed, which is probably almost everyone. For the IW students, if you didn't register your name in the attendance sheet, please do. And if you have any questions, you can send it directly or add it to the Discord so we can convey the questions. If anyone here, either you always say students or otherwise, if you need the notes, you can reach out like to one of us. We can send it to you an email, I believe, right? The notes are already sent to everyone.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Jazakumullah khair.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.